What is wrong with the United Kingdom under Labour? We give honours to people who don't deserve them. Gareth Southgate, miserable failure, never won anything. And we've just given £50 million to an offshoot of Al-Qaeda. And that was the clown Lammy who did it. On the same question then, how do people like Lammy become foreign secretary for our great nation? And then, of course, Nigel Farage, a politician who does deserve an honour because he actually achieved what he set out to do. He got us our Brexit. He gets nothing. Well, he gets a milkshake thrown at him by some sub-pornographic model. Does she get sent to prison? No, of course not. It's Nigel Farage. She just gets more publicity for her little porn career. Welcome to the bright new future. The adults are in charge, Labour in charge. This is Great Britain. Really? Let's talk about that, because this weekend has been an absolute nightmare. By the way, I've got me green screen up, as you can see. I do look a bit like the Grinch, which actually suits my mood today. Got a bit of a green tint from it. I'll get that sorted, but I wanted to get this content out there. So if you like what I'm saying, get on Facebook, get on Twitter. It's John Gaunt, Jongaunt. And if you're listening on audio and you think, what the hell's he on about? You better have a listen, a watch of the YouTube. Don't forget, it's John Gaunt TV. Right, let's get started. David Lammy. I had to read this twice when I first saw it come up on my mobile phone yesterday. Had a massive reaction on Twitter and on Facebook to it. Basically, Lammy has given 50 million pounds of your money to a organisation called HTS. HTS. Who are they, Gaunty? I'll tell you. They're the people who toppled Assad in Syria. However, a little bit more concerning is they used to be Al-Qaeda. They've had a rebrand. But how do we not know they're terrorists? Well, we could presume they're terrorists because the British government say that HTS is still a proscribed organisation, i.e. a terror organisation who they can't deal with. So Lammy can't talk to them directly. So he's playing this stupid flipping farce where somebody is going in by the back channel and talking on behalf of the government. But it hasn't stopped him pledging 50 million pounds of your cash. Now, I want to be fair and tell you what it is. 30 million of it is going to be channeled within Syria for food, shelter, and emergency healthcare. 10 million is going to go to the World Food Programme, buy a few Lear jets, won't it, in Lebanon, and 10 million to WFP and the UN's or refugee agency, the UNHCR in Jordan. 50 million pounds of your money. Meanwhile, in this country, Labour, caring, sharing Labour, Starmer's bright new vision for our great nation, he's just cut the winter fuel allowance. So whilst pensioners have to decide between heat and meat, we're giving 50 million pounds of your money via the back door to Syria. Now, listen, there's also the question about the Syrian refugees who are here already who fled Syria because they didn't feel safe. Well, do they feel safe now? Can they go back? Is it time to get Stelios to say, chucks away, Stelios, and send these people back? Or is that too harsh? Do we have to wait and see how it shakes down? Now, I can see that logic. See what this new Syrian regime is like. But if that's the case, if we're waiting to see what to do with all the Syrians who have come here, many of them in a rubber raft, don't we first then also have to say we ain't going to give them any money at the moment? Why are we giving them? You couldn't make this up. Trevor Lammy has given, Trevor Lammy, I went to school with him, David Lammy, they're not related, he's given them 50 million pounds of your money. Where's the guarantees they're not going to just use that to come and bomb the West again? These people are Al-Qaeda. They've rebranded. They've got rid of Assad. Now, by the way, don't start thinking, I don't want Assad to go. Of course I do. But we've got to be careful who we get into bed with next, don't we? Especially if they're an offshoot of Al-Qaeda. Does a leopard really ever change its spots? And who gave Lammy permission to use our money? This country at the moment is on its knees, not just because of Labour, although they haven't done very well, have they? And I don't see how this adds to Starmer's popularity. I think Starmer now has decided he likes being seen as a see you next Tuesday. I think he thinks that's good. I think he wants us all to hate him because his popularity, the latest poll, is through the floor, through the cellar. Nobody wants him to be Prime Minister. Hardly anybody in Labour. There's also rumours that in Labour they're plotting how they can get rid of him. He's not going to get 2 terms. He'll be lucky to get 2 years, maybe even another 2 months. But my point is, I don't think he cares. So I think, I've said in the past, I don't think he's got any balls. I think he's got balls of steel. He's actually saying, come on then, you think I'm one of them? I'll show you why I'm one of them. Here's 50 million that my clown, Foreign Secretary, Lammy, is now going to give to Al-Qaeda. Are you happy with that? No discussion in Parliament, no nothing. Bang, 50 million. And okay, it's been channeled through different charities. We know what that means. It's Mercedes all round, isn't it? Lear jets all round. Triples all round for the boys. Oh, they don't drink. Of course they do. So you understand what I'm saying. I think it's an absolute disgrace that we are rewarding a terror organisation that killed not millions, tens of thousands in this country and around the globe, and indeed was responsible for the death of many of their own people. What planet is Lammy on? You know this thing, I was laughing the other day. There's these, they reckon there's these aliens come into America. They're these unidentified flying objects. The aliens have already landed. It's the woke culture. They've come from the planet woke, where everything's okay, everybody's uber liberal, and we can afford to have everybody living in the West. Yeah, they've already landed. The chances of anything coming from Mars is 1,000,000 to 1, they said, but they're already here. The chances of anyone coming from Calais? This is just madness. Have the West got a suicide note? Are we trying to kill our culture? We attack everything that is British or Western. How many times have you heard somebody this year say season's greetings? Have you tried to buy an advent calendar? I know it sounds trivial, and I've done this subject for the last 30 years, but there ain't none. They're all season's greetings calendars or countdown calendars. It's an advent calendar. Those of us who are old enough to remember John Noakes or remember Valerie Singleton, we used to make the advent thing with the coat hangers, didn't we? It's a religious festival. Oh, guess what as well? It's a Christian religious festival. It's the festival of this country. Christmas. The clue is in the title. I'm not saying other religions and other cultures can't join in and celebrate. They can. But they've also got their own celebrations. We don't stop them celebrating Eid or Diwali, do we? So can we stop all this pussyfooting political correctness around Christmas? If anybody sent me a card with season's greetings, I'd tell them to shove it where the light don't shine. It's Christmas. I know the BBC have forgotten it's Christmas. They think it's a celebration of Gavin and Stacey. As a mediocre, bog average programme ever had as much hype as that's getting. I'll tell you one thing, James Corden, it better be brilliant. It better be the most brilliant comedy that anybody's ever seen. Otherwise, you're going to have to leave the country again and go and try and crack America again. It's ridiculous, the hype. I was watching it the other day. There was a TV feature in the 6 o'clock and the 1 o'clock news about people who'd been extras in it. How is that news? That's called propaganda. That's called PR. That's called publicity. Is that how you want your license fee money spent? And no doubt the BBC will be loving all this money that's going to go to the terrorists in Syria. I'll tell you when they can have that money. They can have that money when they prove they're no longer murdering terrorist scum. Up until then, they can whistle for it. Are you with me or agin me? You know how to get in touch. It's john@johngaunt.com, or feel free to come on Twitter, John Gaunt, or go on to Facebook. There we are. I may look like the Grinch with my hair being green, but if anybody knows how to sort that out, let me know, please. It's to do with the lighting. I've never been a technical expert. I'm just trying to get my career back off the ground. And don't forget, if you want to support me, very simple, it's buymeacoffee.com. www.buymeacoffee.com/John Gaunt. I'll tell you what, an incompetent I am. I haven't even put up the banner today. Mind you, I'm so useless at this, I'll probably end up getting knighted. Well, how else can you justify? Don't forget, we're talking about Nigel Farage in a minute as well. How can you justify Gareth Southgate? It's another leak. There's been more leaks than a Max Boyce reunion concert about who's going to get awards this year. But evidently, in the new year, your man, Gareth Southgate, the man who put the buh into Oring, he's going to get a knighthood. Why? Oh, I'll tell you why. Because he's such a brilliant manager. He had the best players in the world, right? People like Bellingham, and he couldn't win a tournament. That guy couldn't win a raffle at a Derby and Joan Club. The guy's useless. He's a Villa. I don't like the Villa, as you know, but he plays in such a negative way. And I think that pulls the players back. And I think that's why we never succeeded with him. And I've had idiots on Twitter and on Facebook saying, oh, Gaunty, you're wrong. He's the most successful manager since Alf Ramsey. And then they go, Alf Ramsey won the World Cup. Yes. Well, what's he done? Oh, he's got us to a couple of finals and a semi. Oh, that's all right then. Get a semi. That's as good as a hard-on. He can get a knighthood. What a load of nonsense. Meanwhile, one of our greatest ever players, David Beckham, he can't. David Beckham's not getting a knighthood. Why not? I know he hasn't won anything, but look at how he's reinvented himself. Look at how he's encouraged young people. Look at what he's doing in Miami at the moment. He is a true Brit. Gareth Southgate, I haven't liked him ever since he missed that penalty, then got loads of money for a pizza company. Southgate is a failure. I'm sorry. An absolute failure. And he mustn't be knighted. If you put him up there with our other sporting heroes who have got knighthoods, Andy Murray, well, didn't he win Wimbledon twice? Tanni Gray-Thompson, she won everything she basically got involved in. Lewis Hamilton, I don't really like him as a person, but you can't deny he's a brilliant sportsman. Gareth Southgate, are we going to really start rewarding mediocrity and people who fail? I think it's wrong. I think it's absolutely wrong. Now, if you disagree, get on Twitter. It's John Gaunt. We'll get on Facebook the same. Or indeed, send me an email, john@johngaunt.com. I can't bear the honours. In fact, I've got to the stage with the honours where I just think it needs abolishing. I used to be a big supporter of it, but not now. Did I ever tell you about the time when I think I was being tested out for one? I think I told you before about Luton Hospice, the children's hospice, when it got vandalised. And I did a load of work to motivate, well, I was on local radio, to motivate people to fund it, local businesses, local people, individuals, listeners. And we raised a load of money and we got these windows replaced that these yobbos had smashed. And then about 9 months later, I was out for lunch and this guy came, and I won't say what his name is. He's passed away now. And he said to me, and the guy I was with a guy called Dennis, who actually funded the hospice. He ended up with an OBE, not for that, but for his other charitable work. He's another guy. He should have got knighted. He created so many jobs in Luton and in Bedfordshire, but he never got knighted. Why? Well, because he was born in the shadow of Highbury. He was a Cockney kid. He left school at 14. I don't think he went much before that. But the guy was a genius and a brilliant industrialist, very good friend of mine. And he was the man who's the children's hospice was named after. He got an OBE. He should have been knighted. I certainly should have been knighted before Gareth bloody Southgate. Anyway, this bloke who was at lunch with us said, oh, John, what do you think about the honours system? And I was full of it at the time. I was doing quite well on the radio. And I said, I don't really agree with it. I think it's this. I think it's that. I think the wrong people get it. and etc., etc. And he said, yeah, but you've done some charity work. I said, yeah, I don't do it to get an honour. I do it because I believed in it. I said, I lost my rag when those kids vandalised the hospice. I just lost my rag. I said, I could have lost my job because I went really over the top on air. Some woman complained about it and I told her to effectively F off. We're going to raise money. We're going to do something to change it. And we did. A bit like when I was involved at Vauxhall when we tried to save that when they wanted to close it down the first time. However, so I went on because I'd had a few. It was lunchtime. And then eventually the meal ended and he went. And Dennis turned around to me and said, you stupid idiot. I said, what are you talking about? What have I done wrong now? And he said, you know he was sounding you out. He said, do you know who he is? I said, yeah, I know what he does. He used to work at the Vauxhall and da-da-da. He says, no, it's a bit more than that. He's one of the people who recommends people for honours. He was obviously sussing you out. You were probably going to get something. I said, I've never got an honour in my life. I barely scraped a BA honours at Birmingham University in drama and theatre arts. He said, you're a prat, John. He said, he was testing you out. But if they think you're not going to say yes, or you're not going to be gracious about it, or you're going to use it as material for some piddling little podcast that nobody listens to or watches in 20 years' time when your career hits the buffers, they ain't going to give you it. He didn't say that bit, but I'm elaborating that. And so I didn't get an honour. I told Lisa about it, and she said the same. She said, you're an idiot. That would open doors. I said, well, I don't think it'll be a knighthood. I don't know what it was going to be. But yeah, so I turned down an honour for work I'd done. But see, there's something in me that thinks that's kind of not right. I just did my job. My job was to represent local people on the radio. This happened. I lost my rag. Okay, a lot of people reacted in a very positive way. We raised a load of money. That's marvellous. Does it deserve a gong, which then would open door? I don't think it did. I mean, I don't think Dennis ever did anything for gongs either. But as I say, he's the kind of guy who should have got knighted. When you look at the people who get knighted, and I don't mind if they're like the local lollipop lady and they've done it for 50 years, they're the sort of people who should get it. But should somebody get it just because they were in the civil service and they did their job, or they were quite a good broadcaster? I don't think so. That's just my view. Maybe I'm wrong. But yeah, Gaunty, it could have, you lot should all be kneeling now. We should all be taking the knee to Sir John. Can you imagine that? Lord Gaunt of Vauxhall. I don't know what it would be. It wasn't any of those things, I'm sure. What's the lowest medal you can get? Is it the cycling proficiency badge? Maybe they were going to give me that. I don't know. But I do look back at it and think, every year when the honours come out, I think, well, would you have liked it? And I've got to say, I'm going to be honest with you. There's part of me that thinks, yeah, I'd probably quite get off on that. But see, again, that's appealing to your worst instincts, isn't it? Anyway, there's my story. There's my story about the day I nearly got in the New Year's honours list. Hey? But there's no way Gareth Southgate should be in it. No way on God's earth. He has not achieved enough. And people say, well, it's not all about winning. Yes, it is. When it comes to football, it's all about winning. And it's all about winning the Euros or winning the World Cup. Neither of which that miserable git managed. What he managed was to get a big lucrative contract off, was it Pizza Hut, for taking a mickey out of himself, missing that penalty. Do you remember that all those years ago? And also he played rubbish football, didn't he? Rubbish football. Not as bad as Lee Carsley, who took over. What a clown he was. He couldn't even sing the national anthem. I'd like to use the sword, and metaphorically speaking, I've got to be careful, Gaunty. Don't promote violence on YouTube or on your podcast. I wasn't. I was just using it as a figure of speech. Okay. If you want to get in touch, john@johngaunt.com. John@johngaunt.com. That's the email address. Or you can send me a Twitter, or you can send me an X, or you can also send me a Facebook comment, and we'll have a chat on there as well. And the third thing I want to talk about today, I'm still fuming about Lammy, if I'm honest with you. I mean, this lot now, with Starmer's popularity where it is, it's got to be that he doesn't give a shit. It's got to be, hasn't it? He doesn't care. He doesn't care what you think. And nor do any of the student politicians surrounding him. They're all having a fantastic time. Isn't it great to be in charge? Did you see Yvette Cooper? the Home Secretary, bragging about how many people they'd sent back, but she didn't mention how many had come in. And oh yeah, we're going to stop the boats. You're not. Oh, we're not going to use a cliche like stop the boats, but we're going to stop the boats. Okay, how many are you going to stop? No answer. There's no figure. There's no figure with this lot. It's like go figure, according to Keir Starmer. I can't believe that he's clinging to power. He's like a limpet in Padstow Harbour. Somebody needs to put him out of his misery and us, quick chisel, knock him off the harbour wall. Or am I being too harsh? I think I am. There we are. Padstow. Do you remember going crabbing at Padstow? Remember those H things with orange twine, and you put it down and there'd be a run round like a polo mint, lead weight on it. Get crabs. No? That's not how you got crabs. All right, we'll leave it there. Right, let's finish by talking about that. Talking of crabs, let's talk about the lady who threw the milkshake at Nigel Farage. Now, listen, I've been reminiscing and laughing about John Prescott when that bloke punched him and Prescott punched him back, etc., etc. It's kind of a difference between that and this girl and this latest trend of trying to chuck stuff at Nigel Farage. And because Nigel Farage is the panto villain to all the uber liberals, the woke, the planet wokeists who have come over in their flying saucers and taken over. See, because that's the thing. I don't understand how they're in power. I don't understand how the woke liberal elite are cancelling pantomimes, putting trigger warners on Shakespeare, burning books effectively, or telling you what you can and cannot say, or saying, yes, somebody who says I'm now a fridge, we have to accept, oh, yeah, lovely fridge. Yeah, I've always liked an Indesit fridge. Yeah, you look great in that mini skirt with your beard. Yes, oh, no, I fully accept you are a fridge. How dare I even question that you're a fridge? You're a fridge. You say you're a fridge, you're a fridge. What are you? You're a microwave, you're a microwave. Bing, whatever you want to be, yeah? But where did these people come from? We never voted for any of this crap, did we? Maybe. Anyway, where was I up to? I was talking about Nigel Farage. So Nigel Farage, because he's anti all of that, and because he says what a lot of people think, and because reform, and I don't even think they're a fully fledged party. I'm not behind reform. Some people say, oh, you're a reform supporter. I'm not. They've got to prove themselves yet. Because the worst thing that can happen is there'll be a quick election and reform mess it up. And I'm not saying they should join the Conservatives either. They are getting better people in them now. Tim Montgomery is a good signing, for example. They could do with a few more people like that. Then they'll become a credible force. But you can't deny that Nigel Farage hasn't got his finger on the pulse of the nation. And when he gets physically attacked, which is what that girl did. Yeah, I'm using the term. No, she's a girl. She identifies as an influencer. She makes pornography. No, I don't even know. Are they classed as pornographic? Sexy shots or something for OnlyFans in a mum's bedroom. You couldn't make this shit up, could you? Anyway, like the other one who slept with 100 blokes, but now she wants to do 1,000. I mean, I've been thinking about that a lot. Not in a pornographic way. I just think, how could you get through 1,000 blokes in one day? You couldn't, could you? Huh? Maybe I'm just too old. I just don't understand how that would work. But anyway, so she's become famous because of that. Lily, somebody, she is. But this other one, I'm not going to say her name deliberately because this has all been one big publicity stunt. So more blokes look at pictures of her and go, "Ooh, that's the girl who threw the milkshake." Apt, really, isn't it? She threw the milkshake at Nigel. Ooh, let's have a look at her with no clothes on or just a bikini on or whatever it is. I've never looked at OnlyFans, so I haven't got a clue. But what are you looking at me like that for? That's the truth. I haven't looked at OnlyFans. I've looked at other stuff, but never OnlyFans. You have to pay, don't you? What are you going to pay for? Anyway, so going back to her. So the judge gave her a suspended sentence today. What's the point of that? Now, if she'd been rioting or shouting abuse outside an asylum hotel, she'd have been locked up before the milkshake had been cleaned off Nigel Farage's suit, before it even congealed. But because she threw it at Nigel Farage, boo hiss, villain, a suspended sentence, that don't seem right. That's two-tier justice, isn't it? Yes, John, it is. It's absolutely two-tier justice because the victim was Nigel Farage. And I think that's wrong. I think it's totally wrong. I mean, I don't know whether she needed to go to prison, but I wouldn't have minded if he'd sent her down for 30 days. That'd be quite good, wouldn't it? Teach her a lesson. I mean, how would she survive 30 days without a hair straighteners? And she's another one of those women. What's that latest thing with women painting their eyebrows on? What's all that about? I met a girl the other day, a woman, and she said, oh, yeah, my daughter had hers tattooed eyebrows. Whatever next? I am definitely too old for all this game. Definitely. Anyway, so she's got a suspended sentence. I think that's wrong. She should have maybe had a month in prison. That would have made her concentrate on more than just my nails, all different coloured paint. Did you see it? She took the V's up as well on the way into the court today. So surely, has she already broken her rule? Her kind of, it's not parole, is it? Whatever it's called. I just think it's wrong. Now, talking of people going to prison, the final thing I want to talk about today is important. Did you know that the trial of the man who's suspected of killing those 3 little girls at the Taylor Swift themed dance class in Southport, it's been put back again? I told you last week it's been put back. It's now going to be on January the 20th. Also, do you remember that councillor, Labour councillor, during the riots, who said he wanted to slit the throats of his opponents? And it's been a big hoo-ha about him. And what about the guy who killed the British soldier? Well, weird this. And tell me if I don't know, I'm a bit weird. All of those trials are now going to be on the 20th of January. Well, I don't know why the Manchester 2 did guys at the airport. I don't know when theirs is going to be, but maybe that's going to be on the 20th as well. But I was thinking, what's the 20th? There's something significant about that. Then it dawned on me. That's the day that the future leader of the free world, Donald Trump, becomes the president for the second time. It's his inauguration day. Where's all the world's media going to be? DC, Washington, DC. Who's going to be covering the first day of the trial of Alex, the boy who we thought was a little Welsh lad from the valleys, who turns out is actually Rwanda? And then there's these rumours now that he's actually converted to the Muslim faith. I don't know whether it's true, but people saying he's been going to the mosque whilst he's in HMP prison Woodhill in Milton Keynes. His trials that day, starting that day. I just find it really odd. How did Sir Keir Starmer manage to get those people, many of them who deserved it, into the courts and into prison within a few days during the riot season? Mostly white people, white working class, disaffected people, you could say, or some people would say. But he hasn't got Alex. Well, we haven't even had a picture of Alex, have we? We've had, like I did before, we've got the jumper up to here. We don't even know what he looks like on the artist's impression. Is that two-tier justice? And then we got the guy who killed the British soldier, allegedly. We haven't seen him. And then, obviously, this mad councillor who did say it, because we all saw it on the telly. I don't know why that's taken so long to get to court. We all saw the video. And then we got the Manchester 2. See, so it makes you wonder, is the two-tier justice, and the fact that he's doing it all on the same day, the trials, is that Sir Keir basically flipping the bird, like the young tart today, who's threw the milkshake at Nigel Farage? Is Starmer throwing milkshake over all of us? Throwing shade over us all? Is he, what's it about? What's it all about, Alfie? I haven't got a clue. But we seem to have got a country now where we just reward failure and we give money to terrorists who want to kill us. What's going on? Or we let people into the country who want to kill us. We don't vet them. What's happening? It's not just Starmer. It was obviously happening under the Tories as well. It's the elite. It might be better if these UFOs are actually Martians or from the planet Zanussi, and they're going to come down and destroy us. Maybe the end of the world's what we need. Because it ain't much of a world at the moment. If you work hard, bring up your kids, believe in educating them, and believe in law and order, well, you're a bit of a sap, aren't you? Everybody else is just walking all over you. I find it really odd. Really, really odd. Anyway, it's allowing me to have a rant once or twice or 3 or even 4 or 5 times a week. Hope you can join me again. If you like what I've talked about, why don't you send me a donation? www.buymeacoffee.com/John Gaunt. I'll even use some of the money to get rid of this green tint. I can't look like the Grinch next week, can I? Although I'm quite pleased I've got this background. But by the way, this is a background on a green screen. It's not my house. I don't live here. I can't play the piano before you ask. Just a green screen. I'll have a different one tomorrow. But thanks very much indeed for supporting me so far. Joking aside, I just feel so good. I feel like my mojo's back. I feel I've got a purpose in life. This is what it's about, isn't it? And thanks to everybody who has bought me a coffee. Thank you very much indeed. Green screen, that's my Christmas present off Lisa. It's a bit like when you get a jumper off your mum and she tells you can't wear it until Christmas Eve. Lisa relented and said I could use it straight away. So I always remember my mum, she would put down the satsumas and say, you touch them before Christmas Eve and you're dead. Happy days. Anyway, I'll be back tomorrow. Until then, if you've got kids, give them a kiss, give them a hug. Hey, hey, hey. Don't forget to tell them you love them. Get them a selection box. They don't need anything else. Do you remember that as well? We used to get a selection box in like a stocking thing. Inside a stocking, a Satsuma, and maybe a couple of Quality Street, not the whole tin. And those little Palmer violet sweets in the little plastic container that you squeeze and they popped into your mouth. Do you remember? That was Christmas, wasn't it? And one present. If you're lucky, it was the Evel Knievel Stunt Rider. If you're unlucky, I don't know what it was. It was something crafty. What kid wants a craft? If you've not got your presents yet, don't buy your niece or your nephew something that, it's really artistic. They can make something. They can do that at school. Buy them something totally useless that they just want to have a laugh with. Yeah? Surely that's what it's about. Anyway, that's it. I've got a cold as well. I'll be back. Until then, if you've got kids, give them a kiss, give them a hug. Hey, hey, hey. Don't forget to tell them you love them. Thank you for supporting me. Gaunty is definitely back. See you tomorrow.